Tyler here with GPKNIVES, and I'm back again, and today we are going to answer your questions for an Ask Me Anything. Let's jump right in. Starting off with our first question here, we have, how do we stay sharp? Well, we stay sharp by carrying at least one knife and making sure that all the knives we carry have a sharp cutting edge. And this leads us right into our second question. How do I prefer to sharpen my knives? And our third question, what's the best easy to use sharpening device? Well, I prefer to use an easy to use sharpening device, and that is the WorkSharp Precision Adjust Sharpening System. And this is a multi-angle system that has a micro adjust. It's very simple and easy to use. It comes with diamond abrasives in both the basic and the elite version. And as you can see here, you've got an adjustable base, a tri-abrasive that slides on this rod, and that allows you to maintain the correct angle of the edge all the way throughout the sharpening. And to sharpen the opposite side, you simply press the button on the back and rotate the knife in the holder. And this full system breaks down into a nice portable travel size, and the elite version comes with added abrasives as well as a nice travel carrying case. And that leads us right into our next question, and that is going to be, how do you get a sharp edge on the Spyderco Dog Tag one-side sharpened blade? So the blade on the knife that is being referred to is called a chisel grind. And I've got another example here in the ProTech Emerson CQC7. And this has a chisel ground Tonto blade. So you can see the bevel on the front side of the blade here. And then if you flip it over on the back, it is completely flat. So the Precision Adjust Sharpening System will work great on this knife as well. You just sharpen that front edge, and then you are going to not sharpen the back edge, but simply take a fine ceramic rod and remove the burr from the back. And that will get you a nice sharp cutting edge on the chisel ground blade profile. And that's going to lead us to our next question, which involves the knife that is in our sharpening system here. This is the Para 3 from Spyderco in CPM S110V. And the question is based on the popularity of S110V, other than sharpening, what are the cons? So S110V is a great high performance stainless steel with a high level of edge retention. And it's essentially going to be an upgrade from CPM S90V in terms of corrosion resistance. So if you're looking for a high edge retention, high corrosion resistant steel, S110V is a great choice. Other than sharpening, which tends to be a little more difficult on high wear steels, the only con is going to be the price. So with that premium performance, you do get a premium price tag. Otherwise, it's going to be a great steel if you're looking for that combination of traits. And our next question is, what is the difference between CPM 154 and 154 CM? Well, in terms of composition, the two steels are going to be identical. They're both American-made steels from the Crucible manufacturer. The difference between the two is that CPM 154 is the powder metallurgy version of 154 CM. And this is a more modern process that allows for a uniform distribution of carbides in the steel. And we'll talk a little bit about carbides in our next question, which is, what is the hardest steel to sharpen? And this is a multi-part question. Are some steels easier to sharpen than others, and why? The hardest steel to sharpen is going to be a steel with a bad heat treat. Regardless of the composition of the steel, a blade with a bad heat treat is going to be difficult to get sharp because the edge is going to break off as you try to sharpen it. Now, with a quality heat treat, which is what you're going to get from most manufacturers, the difference is going to be in the composition of the steel, and that has to do with carbides. Carbides are hard particles that exist within the steel, and that is what is going to give the blade edge retention through wear resistance. So those harder particles are harder to wear off, and that creates edge retention in the steel. And we'll show a few micrographs that have been graciously offered to us by Lauren Thomas of knifesteelnerds.com. And if you want a more in-depth look, please head over to his site and check out all the many great resources on knife steels that he has to offer. These micrographs are going to show the small particles in white, and those are carbides. And we have everything from a lower carbide steel like 154 cm to a high carbide steel like S110V. You can also see the difference between the CPM process versus the standard ingot process in 154, and you can see that there is a more even distribution of carbides through that CPM process. Next up, what is my favorite blade steel? Well, I think there are pros and cons to a lot of different blade steels, but the one that I find to be most enjoyable in use is going to be Sandvik 14C 28N. And you can find that in quite a few different knives, and it's typically found in more budget-friendly knives. And while it is a quote-unquote budget steel, I find that the performance is very solid. It's a nice, tough stainless steel that offers good edge retention and sharpens up like a dream. Next up, what are the best ways to polish brass or copper scales? So any kind of softer metal and even some harder metals are easily polished using a fine polish like Flitz or Metal Glow and a microfiber rag. We use these sometimes in the shop to polish up bolsters on traditional knives as well as raw brass and copper, and it works great. Again, this is Tyler with GP Knives. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and stay sharp.